Reach for the speed, reach for the whistle, go where the rail may run. Reach for the words, reach for the story, follow the rainbow sun. To a shining time station, where dreams can come true, waiting there for you.
Jake is a diesel engine that works at the cement works arranging freight cars. He spends his day getting the empty cement cars loaded and chunking them into place for the other engines to take them out onto the line. Jake is a hard worker too. He never complains about how much work he has to do and makes sure he always gets the job done. However, one negative thing about Jake is that he looks down on female engines. Every time Dani, Taylor, or Kryssy go to the cement works to pick up freight cars, he always has something rude to say about female engines. When Ray makes his schedules, he tries his best to avoid sending Dani, Taylor, or Kryssy to the cement works because he knows how Jake is, and it'll avoid arguments. However, one day, he had no choice. Kryssy backed into the yard to collect some cars full of cement. Jake had just finished shunting it. "Now, if you want to," said Jake, "I could take some of those freight cars off, 'cause I know you female engines aren't as strong as us male engines." Kryssy fumed. "No, you don't have to, Jake," she said crossly. "I'm perfectly capable of taking this train on my own. I know the strength of female engines," Jake continued, "and it's not that much." "You must not know anything," snapped Kryssy, "because you don't even know how strong a female engine can be." "You know," said Jake, "I don't even know why they give female engines such important jobs such as taking cement. They should leave jobs like that, for us guys," he said pompously. Kryssy was furious. It was lucky for Jake, too, that Kryssy's train was actually ready to leave, or else Kryssy was ready to burst the safety valve because she was so angry. On her way along the branch line, Kryssy kept thinking about Jake. "The nerve of him talking to me like that," she grumbled. "I never met an engine so ignorant in all my life." "Don't let that fool bother you, old girl," said her driver. "You know how useful you are." Kryssy didn't reply. She was still very angry about what Jake had said to her. Out in South Plainsville sheds, after she had finished her work, Kryssy was telling Dani and Taylor all about Jake. "I don't like him at all," said Dani. "He has no respect for us female engines." "And," added Taylor crossly, "he doesn't think we can work as hard as he can." "And," added Kryssy, "he said that us female engines shouldn't get the important jobs, such as handling freight cars full of cement." "That was so disrespectful," said Taylor. "We definitely need to find a way to get back at him," said Dani angrily. "This has gone on long enough." At that moment, Larry puffed in. "Are you three talking about Jake again?" he asked. "Yes, we are," answered Kryssy. "You know," said Larry, "I have the perfect way you three can get back at him." "How?" asked Taylor. "Just keep being the useful engines that you are," smiled Larry. "Don't let what Jake says bother you. To everyone else on this railway, you three are equals. You three work just as hard as any male engine." "You know, Larry," said Dani, "that's a wonderful idea." "Thank you." "You're very welcome," Larry replied. So that's exactly what they did. Taylor, Kryssy, and Dani did their work harder than ever before. All the same, they really did want to show Jake how strong female engines could be once and for all. Their chance came sooner than expected. One cloudy Friday afternoon, Jake was arranging freight cars of cement to take to the dam. Now, Jake normally didn't make deliveries on his own, but all the other engines were busy, so he had no choice. He didn't mind, though. He liked the chance to get out and stretch his wheels. Jake's driver looked up at the sky. I don't like the looks of those clouds. They look very threatening to me. We'll be all right, said Jake. I can handle anything. And as soon as everything was ready, Jake departed. And at first, everything seemed fine. Until they reached the main line at Denville, it began to drizzle. And by the time they reached the valley junction and the steep hill, it turned into a drenching downpour. Lightning flash and thunder crash. No worries, said Jake, I got this. But he didn't have this. Halfway up the hill, Jake stalled with his wheels spinning in place. Come on, said Jake, I can do this. Jake struggled, determined not to give up. All of a sudden, it was a loud bang, and he shouted, ouch! That's my traction motor gone. In the deluge, his driver, fireman, and conductor went to inspect the traction motor. Well, that's done it, said the driver. He's not going anywhere now, at least not on his own. I'll run ahead to the next station to the conductor so they can call for help. Larry was at the next station dropping off and collecting passengers when Jake's conductor came running up to the station agent. Hello, said the station agent. What's up? Jake's traction motor blew up on the hill while he was trying to pull a heavy train of cement. Larry couldn't help but laugh. I need to use your telephone to call for help, he told the station agent. All right, said the station agent. Come inside with me out of this weather. Excuse me, said Larry to the conductor. Yes, Larry? I know who'd be the perfect engine that could come to Jake's rescue. An hour had passed, and Jake was still stuck on the hill, wet and annoyed. Just then he heard 3 familiar whistles. Oh no, he said, not them. But it was them. Taylor, Kryssy, and Dani came to his rescue. Well, look at this, said Dani. Mighty old Jake stuck on the hill. Are you sure we'll be able to rescue him? Said Taylor sarcastically. I don't know, said Kryssy. Jake always says that female engines can't do the same job male engines can. But we have to try anyway, I suppose. Jake said nothing. Jake had enough strength to back the train of cement down to the bottom of the hill and then rolled off into a siding. Kryssy and Taylor then coupled onto his train and took it up the hill with no trouble at all. Dani then called Jake to the works. The workmen discovered that Jake's traction motors wasn't too badly damaged, so repairs wouldn't take too long. But while he was at the works, Dani, Taylor, and Kryssy took it in turns to shunt the cement plant for him. On the afternoon of his first day back, Jake begged his owner to let him go down to South Plainsville with a train of cement. He's happy to see that Dani, Kryssy, and Taylor were all there. He pulled up alongside them. He took a deep breath and spoke. Dani, Kryssy, Taylor, thank you for helping me last week. I'm sorry I was rude to the 3 of you. You proved to me that female engines are just as important as male engines. I now know that all the stuff I thought about female engines was wrong and stupid. You 3 are definitely really useful engines. Thank you, said Taylor, and we accept your apology. And I'd also like to thank you 3 for taking care of the cement plant while I was away. It was our pleasure, replied Kryssy. Well, I better be going, said Jake. I hope to see you 3 around the cement plant sometimes. Oh, we'll definitely come visit, said Dani. And with a mighty blast of his horn, Jake departed. Dani, Taylor, and Kryssy were very proud that they were able to show Jake that female engines are just as strong as male engines. Jake was also happy because not only did he finally see the light, but he made 3 new friends too. being taken to the works by Bernard. She had a bad steam leak and needed repairs. So Mr. Egan arranged for another engine to fill in for her. The engine arrived not long after her and Bernard had left the yard. "Look," said Larry, "it's the new engine." The engine puffed onto the turntable. He was an 040 tender engine. He also looked unfriendly. "How are you?" said Andrew kindly. "I'm Andrew, and this is Christian and Larry." "What's your name?" asked Christian. "Rodney," said the engine, "and I don't want to hear any lip out of you big engines." "Excuse me?" said Larry. He was confused at the engine's abrasiveness. "Yeah, I said it. I'm not going to let you big tender engines get the best of me." "We literally didn't do anything," Andrew replied. The engine ignored that and continued. "I'm going to prove to you big engines that I can be just as strong as you. On my old railway, the bigger engines teased me because I always got the smaller jobs, but I'm not going to let that happen here. I might even replace that Dani, whoever I'm here filling in for." Larry, Andrew, and Christian were shocked. "No one can ever replace Dani," said Larry crossly. "That's right," added Christian, "and to be technical about it, you're actually smaller than she is. She's a 060, you're a 040. There's no way you're stronger than her." "I am," snapped Rodney. "You'll see." The next morning, Paul came to the sheds. It was Ray's day off, so he came to give the engines their job for the day. "Okay, Larry and Andrew, I need you two to go to the steelworks. There's an important order that has to be brought back here to South Plainsville. And Christian, I need you to take the mail train today." He then turned to Rodney. "And Rodney, I need you to—" "Long, heavy goods train," said Rodney, "or a passenger train?" "No," said Paul. "I need you to take that flatbed of bricks to Springfield." "What?" said Rodney. "A flatbed of bricks? I'm way more above that. Don't you have anything else for me to do aside from that?" "I will," said Paul, "when you come back after you delivered that." And with that, he walked away. Larry, Christian, and Andrew hollered with laughter. "So much for how strong they think you are," laughed Christian. "This is just a warm-up for me," said Rodney. "I'll show you all how strong I can be." Soon Rodney was coupled up to the flatbed of bricks and made his way towards the main line. Rodney was still cross as he made his way through Denville on his return trip. In a siding, he saw a long line of coal cars. Eddie and Lewis were nearby. Rodney stopped and asked, "Do you know who's going to take this train?" "We don't know," said Lewis. "We just brought the coal cars down to load the train up." "Well, if this train has no engine," said Rodney, "I guess I'll take it." "You?" chuckled Eddie. "You're way too small to take this train." "You two can't talk about small," Rodney scoffed. "I'm actually bigger than you two." Eddie and Lewis were furious. "We're narrow gauge, you idiot," snapped Lewis. "Of course we're going to be smaller than you. And," he added, "we're also 3-foot gauge, so we're not that much smaller than a typical standard gauge engine. And not to mention on other narrow gauge railroads that have dual gauge track, some narrow gauge engines actually pull full standard gauge trains." "Well, if a puny narrow gauge engine could do that," Rodney snapped, "then I can do this." And he puffed up to the coal cars and coupled up. His driver put plenty of sand on the rails and he gave a great heave. The cars didn't move at first, and then suddenly, Rodney felt a little movement. "Ha ha," he chuckled. "I'm doing it! I'm doing it!" Eddie and Lewis just rolled their eyes in disgust. And suddenly, the coal train stalled. "Come on," said Rodney. "I was doing so good. Come on, come on, come on." Rodney pulled and pulled and pulled. Something had to give. And then all of a sudden, the coupling broke. The jolt knocked his engineer and fireman out of the cab. "Help!" cried Rodney. "Help! I can't stop!" Rodney's throttle was wide open, which means he was going at his full top speed. Larry and Andrew were at the steelworks resting. Then they saw Rodney. "Why is he going backwards so fast?" Larry said to Andrew. "Help! Help!" cried Rodney. "I can't stop. I don't have an engineer." "Well, it serves him right for being so rude," Andrew Ray said to Larry. Rodney was headed straight for the big station before the other railway. Two Alco PAs were getting ready to depart with the Silver Liner when they saw Rodney approaching. The train came to a stop. "What's going on with that engine?" said the first Alco PA. "Has he gone mad or something?" The Silver Liner's engineer ran to the switch and diverted Rodney onto the yard tracks, but he wasn't out of danger. Taylor had just pulled out onto the turntable so she could head to the station to pick up her train bound for the seaport. She saw Rodney approaching. "Oh no," she cried. "Stop! Stop!" But of course, Rodney couldn't. Rodney smashed 10 reverses into the turntable pit. Taylor was furious. "What was the meaning of that?" she said to Rodney. "Not using common sense," said Rodney, dazed. The yard manager called for help, and soon Kryssy arrived with the crane. After the line was deemed safe, the Silver Liner was finally able to depart. It was now an hour late. As they were getting ready to clear the mess, they found that Taylor's cab was damaged in the accident, so she would need repairs. A diesel from the other railway had to take her train instead. Soon everything was ready, and Kryssy, along with the crane, pulled Rodney back onto the rails. After Rodney was pulled out of the pit, it was found that he damaged the turntable mechanism, so the crane had to be used to pull Taylor around so she could get back onto the line. It took a very long time, but soon Taylor was set to the right track to be taken off the turntable. That evening, Dani arrived back from the works. She had heard about everything that had went on. "Oh, Dani," said Andrew, "thank goodness you're back." "I'm glad to be back," said Dani. "As I was leaving the works, I saw Ray give an earful to that new engine that Mr. Egan brought to help out while I was gone." "What did he say?" asked Larry. "I didn't hear exactly what he said. I just heard a lot of cursing and stuff about turntables and delays." Christian, Andrew, and Larry bursted out laughing. I am very happy to say that Rodney did have a happy ending. After a couple of weeks of being repaired at the works, he officially and sincerely apologized to Ray and Mr. Egan. They admired his work ethic and determination and decided to give him the job of being the shop switcher at the works complex. He moves engines that aren't running around the shop area and moves around the damaged rolling stock and even takes the passenger cars to be cleaned at the wash. He even apologized to Larry, Christian, and Andrew. And after a while, they considered Rodney a good friend.